Hello and good morning, everybody. Audible online? Okay. Okay. Sternberg's triarchic theory. Sternberg's triarchic theory of intelligence. You may have this figure and then we will discuss. So according to Sternberg, there are three types of intelligence that are arranged in hierarchy. It begins with componential intelligence. Three types of intelligence that are arranged in hierarchy, beginning with componential intelligence, which is required for execution of task in hand. Which is required for the execution of task in hand. Any task that you do in your day-to-day life, it will require componential intelligence. It helps us handling objects. It helps us handling objects and psychomotor coordination. It helps us handling objects and psychomotor coordination. Okay? For example, right now, you are listening to me, you are looking at me, you are looking into the board, and you are taking notes simultaneously. All of these different activities are happening at the same time and effortlessly. It is because of your componential intelligence. So your eyes do not need to be reminded how frequently they have to look at the board. Your ears do not need to know which sound to be registered. Your fingers do not need to be told how to move it while writing. All these multiple tasking is happening simultaneously without effort. It is because of componential intelligence, right? Componential intelligence is made up of three components: the master meta component and two slave components, knowledge and performance. The master meta component is served by two slave systems. They are, as you can see, knowledge and performance component. So you name any task. How is it performed? Say if you have to hang a calendar in the wall, this challenge will be communicated to meta component that the task in hand is hanging a calendar in the wall. Meta component will send the message to knowledge component asking it that what equipments would be required. The knowledge component will inform the meta component that you need a nail and a hammer. This information will be sent to performance component through meta component that use a nail and a hammer and hang the calendar in the wall. So performance component will hold the nail against the wall and hit the hammer behind the nail. If performance component is not proper, instead of hitting the nail, the person may injure his own fingers, right? Or the person standing next to him. ठीक है? तो वो परफॉर्मेंस कंपोनेंट कितना अच्छा है, आप कितना क्लिनिकल फिनिश के साथ कोई काम कर सकते हैं. So meta component determines the number of accidents you meet in life. The componential intelligence determines the number of accidents you meet in life, the number of objects you break, etc. So with the help of componential intelligence, we are able to perform our day-to-day task. Okay? So people with good componential intelligence can handle multiple tasks at a time. ठीक है? अभी मैं आपको एक सिंपल चीज बताता हूं कॉम्पोनेंशियल इंटेलिजेंस का. जैसे आपने देखा होगा कि बहुत लोग चोट खाते रहते हैं, like they would go and bang themselves against the almirah, against the corner of the bed. It is because they lack componential intelligence. Because bed, almirah, wardrobe, table, etc. are immobile objects. They don't keep moving. The person who is moving is you, and still you get banged yourself against this object. It means that you are not able to handle your psychomotor coordination properly. Some people lose their balance and fall down very easily. It is because of lack of componential intelligence. Okay. Now coming to experiential intelligence. Experiential intelligence develops with practice and experience in a specific area. Okay? Experiential intelligence develops with practice and experience in a specific area. It is similar to crystallized intelligence. It is similar to crystallized intelligence. Experiential intelligence is responsible for fluency of behavior. Experiential intelligence is responsible for fluency of behavior. It is responsible for fluency of behavior. And it develops over a period of time. Now, let me give you very innocent examples of experiential intelligence. When you were a kid and you received a chocolate from your uncle or someone, you were told to say thanks, isn't it? And therefore you said thank you. A lot of effort took on your part to move your tongue and say thank you. Today you do it effortlessly. It is because of experience. You don't have to think. It comes out naturally. And if somebody thanks you, you're welcome. It comes out naturally. Isn't it? It comes out naturally. When you see your superior, you move forward to open the door of the car. It becomes natural. If you are with a lady in a restaurant or a hotel, you pull the chair for her. It comes naturally. At a point of time, it did not come naturally. You were told to do that. Now, this is experiential intelligence. Experiential intelligence can be obtained in any specific area. For example, my experiential intelligence in psychology makes me take the classes effortlessly. ठीक है, effortlessly मैं क्लास ले रहा हूं. आज सुबह मैं उठा हूं, मैं लेट उठा हूं, मैं उठते ही हाथ मुंह धो के आ गया हूं, लेकिन मुझे कोई दिक्कत नहीं हो रही क्लास में. Why? Because I have experience in psychology. But had this been a class of history, I would have an issue. Because I don't have any experiential intelligence for history. Are you getting it? तो वहां मुझे दिक्कत आएगी. So it is highly domain specific. And it can give you advantage in one area, it may not give you advantage in other. It can give you advantage in one place, it may not give you advantage in other. Like I behave more intelligently when I am in northern India. Why? Because in northern India, every event and every territory appears to be familiar. But when I'm in southern India, I have to make efforts to adjust myself. Because most of the people will not understand my language. Most of the commodities that are sold, I won't have a prior experience of that. So I'll have a difficulty. Say if you go to America, by the time you can order your meal in a hotel, an average American will finish their meal and leave. Because you will be busy in converting the value of dollar into money before placing the order. Because you don't have experience of dollars. So experiential intelligence is highly domain as well as location specific. It is highly domain as well as location specific. Now let me ask you a question. Say there are two doctors, one senior, another junior. Both have same degree and qualification. Whom would you prefer for treatment? Why? After all, qualification is equivalent. Why senior? So with experience, what can he do for you? No, he will reduce the time of treatment. The junior doctor with similar qualification will follow the protocol. He will make you go through all the tests before he diagnoses the disease. And the test reports will consume time. Senior doctor may ask you to go for one or two tests and he will arrive at the conclusion what is the disease. And he will begin the treatment much before, in advance, as compared to the junior doctor. And that's why people prefer senior doctors or senior teachers or senior lawyers. Seniority has a value because of experiential intelligence. Now, if you ask me that what is the thing I have gained in teaching through experience, I have learned over the year what is not important. मुझे 20 साल लग गए सिर्फ ये जानने के लिए कि इंपॉर्टेंट क्या नहीं होता है, क्योंकि जब मैंने पढ़ाना शुरू किया था मुझे सब चीज इंपॉर्टेंट लगता था, मुझे हर एक चीज इंपॉर्टेंट लगता था. I used to take batches for 6 months because I thought this needs to be told, that needs to be told. I was not able to weigh the topics from point of view of examination. It took me 20 years to know what is not required. Are you getting it? Okay. Contextual intelligence. Contextual intelligence is the ability to act intelligently in the situation or the context. It is the ability to act intelligently in the situation or the context. It makes a person street smart. It makes a person street smart. हिंदी में स्ट्रीट स्मार्ट को चालू पुर्जा कहते हैं, एक ऐसा पुर्जा जो किसी भी मशीन में फिट हो जाए. So whatever be the situation, he will act smart. The person will act smart. And it comprises of 3 abilities: ability to adapt, ability to shape, ability to select. Adapt means changing oneself according to the need of the situation. Adapt implies changing oneself according to the need of the situation. How fast can you get into the shoes? How easily can you change yourself as per the situation? That is ability to adapt. So when you judge the situation that I need to be submissive, you immediately become submissive. And when you judge the situation that I need to be aggressive and assertive, you become assertive. How fast you are able to take that decision. Ability to shape. It is the ability to change the situation as per one's own requirement. It is the ability to change the situation as per one's compatibility. It is the ability to change the situation as per one's compatibility. ठीक है? Now see, I'll give you my experience. At times, I slow down in the lectures so that the students who are learning slowly can benefit. So I'm changing myself according to the requirement of the student. And sometimes I need to pacify the course. So that time I speed up and I make the students learn fast. So this is the difference between adapt and shift. We use both of them as a part of our contextual intelligence. Then comes select. Selection is the ability to identify opportunities in the environment. Selection is the ability to identify opportunities in the environment that are better, and switch over. Okay. So some people have the problem of inertia. They do not take the risk of changing the course of life. But people with contextual intelligence will always be watchful towards better opportunities, and they will be dynamic in their career or choices, in their occupational choices, in their life choices. Okay? And they will switch over. So these three qualities provide contextual intelligence, and contextual intelligence is considered to be a kind of emotional intelligence. Contextual intelligence is considered to be a kind of emotional intelligence. So Sternberg identified three types of intelligence. Now Sternberg is also known for his classification of types of love, although it is not in the syllabus. So how many types of love human beings can experience? There are 6 types of love. Okay. Now, if you want, I can give you 1-page material on that, and you can discover what kind of love you have done in your life. 6 तरह के लव होते हैं. ठीक है. अगर आप बोलो तो मैं आपको दे सकता हूँ 1 पेज का मैटर, लेकिन ये सिलेबस में नहीं है. नहीं दूं ना. नहीं, वो सही बोल रहा है, देने की जरूरत नहीं है. क्या? हाँ. देश में प्यार बांटने की जरूरत नहीं, देश का पॉपुलेशन ऑलरेडी बढ़ा हुआ है. My driver did not come today, so 11th hour he said that, sir, I am not able to make it up. I came driving. खिड़की खुली रखा था, इतना हवा लग गया, आंखें मॉइस्ट हो रही है, मुझे कुछ दिख नहीं रहा है ठीक से. Now we come to the process theories of intelligence. We are done with the content theories. Process theory. Process theory comes from functional and behavioral school in psychology. Functional and behavioral school in psychology, which later on consolidated into cognitive psychology. Process theories are based on the premise. Process theories are based on the premise that our intellectual functioning does not depend upon the cognitive resource or content. Our intellectual functioning does not depend upon the cognitive resource or content. Rather, it depends upon the way we put the cognitive resource into use. Instead, it depends upon the way we put the cognitive resource in use. Using minimum oil and spices. Can you cook tasty food? Using minimum oil and spices, can a tasty food be cooked? And using plenty of oil and spices, tasty food definitely can be cooked. But I am asking, minimum use में tasty food बना सकते हैं? बना सकते हैं. That means you are a good cook. If you can do that with minimum addition of oil and spices, then you are a good cook. So intellectual functioning does not depend upon how much oil you have and how much spices you have. Not on the cognitive resource, but how smartly you use the cognitive resource. How effectively you use the cognitive resource. है ना? रिसोर्स तो बहुत है आपके पास. भगवान ने दो हाथ दिए हैं. किस हाथ का किस समय क्या इस्तेमाल करें, कैसे इस्तेमाल करें? These are cognitive resources, isn't it? Okay. So according to process theory, intelligence is not what intelligent person has. Intelligence is not what intelligent person has, but it is what intelligent person does. So the proponents of process theory are as follows. Earl Hunt. According to him, performance over an IQ test. According to him, performance over an IQ test depends upon the use of cognitive resources. Performance over an IQ test depends upon use of cognitive resources like attention, which is pooling of mental energy. Attention, which is pooling of mental energy, POOLING, pooling of mental energy and focusing on the task in hand. And focusing on the task in hand, comma, past experience that comes through practice. Past experience that comes through practice. Comma, working memory etc. Okay. So how good score you obtain on an IQ test does not depend upon how much intelligence you have, but it depends upon all these cognitive resources under action, in action, how you put them into use. Okay. The next proponent is Vernon. Vernon believed that intelligence is related to speed of processing. Intelligence is related to speed of processing. Intelligent people have faster brains. Intelligent people have faster brains. They do not wait before they start working on a complex task. They do not wait before they start working on a complex task. So they don't have that inertia that they are taking breathing time before they start the complex task. The moment they get the task, they will start. Okay? Because of fast processing, of information, the chances of forgetting is low. Because of fast processing, the chances of forgetting is low, and also it leaves enough time for the individual, and also it leaves enough time for the individual to revise the information and check it. Michael Isaac. According to Isaac, intelligence is error-free transmission of information through brain. According to Isaac, intelligence is error-free transmission of information through brain. Error-free transmission of information through brain. It involves error-free encoding, error-free organization in the LTM, and error-free retrieval. And error-free retrieval. ठीक है? Bruner. The next proponent is Bruner. Bruner believed that intellectual capability unfolds with maturation. Intellectual capability unfolds with maturation. With development in age, the style of processing the information advances from simple to complex levels. from simple to complex level. The way you process the information, that will change at different point of time in life. And that is what makes you smarter with increasing age. Now, there are three modes of intellectual functioning. There are three modes of intellectual functioning. Inactive mode, iconic mode, symbolic mode. Inactive mode, iconic mode, and symbolic mode are the three modes of intellectual functioning. The age group 0 to 2 years, 2 to 4 years, and 4 plus. Okay. Now, inactive mode. At the time of birth.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, is this under Bruner or it's a new topic?
No, it is under Bruner. Bruner's
Okay.
theory of intelligence. He said that intelligence is related to maturation.
Okay, sir.
As maturation progresses, the intellectual functioning advances from simple to complex modes. Okay. So, inactive mode. At the time of birth, the head is empty and is devoid of any experience. At the time of birth, the head is empty and is devoid of any prior experience. Okay. So they do not know about the objects in the surrounding. They do not know what are the functions of the object in the surrounding. They do not know the name of the objects present in the surrounding. They do not understand anything that is being seen, because they don't have any prior experience. तो जैसे देखो, मुझे पता है कि मुझे कॉफी पीना है तो इस कप से पीना है, और पानी पीना है तो इस जग से पीना है, क्योंकि मेरा हेड एम्प्टी नहीं है. आई हैव गॉट द प्रायर एक्सपीरियंस. बट सपोज आई हैव नो प्रायर एक्सपीरियंस, हाउ वुड आई नो वेयर लाइज द कॉफीज एंड वेयर लाइज द टी? ठीक है. सो न्यू बॉर्न्स explore the environment by action. Newborns explore the environment by actions like touching, grasping, tasting, the external objects. The external object. So this is the way they use their intelligence, or this is the way they function intellectually. ठीक है. हर चीज को छू के समझेंगे, छू के उसका पहचान लेंगे, परिचय लेंगे. दिस इज इनएक्टिव मोड. अगर आप अपना चेहरा सामने कर दो तो वो आपके गाल को भी ऐसे से छू के देखेंगे, समझेंगे कि क्या है, खुरदरा है कि सॉफ्ट है. ठीक है. वो हर चीज छू के जानने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. दिस इज इनएक्टिव मोड ऑफ इंटेलेक्चुअल फंक्शनिंग. देन कम्स 2 to 4 years of age, iconic mode. In this age, seeing becomes believing, and children begin to think in terms of visual icons. Seeing becomes believing, and children begin to think in terms of visual icons. this happens specially because of development of clear vision. So you should know that newborns do not have clear visibility because lenses are still developing. Their lenses have not developed. Their eyelids have not developed. That is why if you look at newborn, you will be able to see the full black ball of the eye. क्योंकि eyelids अभी ग्रो नहीं किए कि आधा उसको कवर कर ले. जैसे आपकी आंखों में आधा चांद दिखता है, आपके पूरे आई बॉल्स नहीं दिखते जब तक कि आप बड़ा ना करो ऐसा. ठीक है, मतलब आपकी आंखें जब तक खुली और फटी ना हो आपके पूरे आई बॉल्स को देखना मुश्किल है. लेकिन न्यूबॉर्न का क्या है, उनका तो आईलिड भी नहीं निकला है, तो आप देखेंगे रसगुल्ला जैसा आंख दिखेगा हर न्यूबॉर्न का, पूरा पूरा आई बॉल दिखेगा क्योंकि ये आईलिड अभी तक ग्रो नहीं किया. Moreover, the back of the eye, the lens has not developed. So whatever they see it in blur. But after the age of 2, the visual acuity develops and they use this ability in such a manner that they start believing in what they see. That is why the magicians are able to charm the kids. Because whatever the kids see, they start believing it without questioning the logic. So it does not involve higher order mental processing. It involves whatever you see, you believe. For example, देखो मैं अपने अंगूठा को अलग कर दे रहा हूँ, आपको लगेगा अच्छा अंगूठा अलग हो गया. Are you getting it? तो जो आप देख रहे हैं आप उसको बिलीव करना शुरू करेंगे. This is iconic mode. ठीक है? And you can, if you relate it with Piaget's theory, you will remember that a child who is given milk in a thin, narrow glass refuses to drink the milk because he believes that there is more milk. When the same milk is transferred to a wider glass with level of milk low, he accepts or agrees to finish the milk from the wider glass. Why? Because level of milk appears to be low. So he cannot carry out the concrete mental operation that when there was no addition or subtraction, there cannot be change in the matter, right? So this is the age of iconic mode, and then comes symbolic mode. 4 years onwards, children start thinking in terms of language. Children start thinking in terms of language, which is symbolic representation of the objects in reality. Which is symbolic representation of the objects in reality. Now see, a significant and amazing quality of language. Language enables us to think about objects and phenomena, or language enables us to think about events, objects and phenomena that are remote in distance and time. Language enables us to think about object, events and phenomena that are remote in space and time. Now let me navigate you through time. सुनो मेरी बात को ध्यान से. Can you mentally imagine Akbar? कैसा दिखता होगा? कोई इमेज बन रहा है दिमाग में? कुछ बन रहा होगा, सबका अलग अलग बन रहा होगा. ठीक है, okay. Can you mentally imagine how would human beings look in the 22nd century? So I have taken you back in time and I have taken you ahead in time. And how? By using a sentence. This is the power of language. It can navigate you. It can help you navigate across time. And then, can you imagine a helicopter? Okay. Can you see a helicopter around? There is no helicopter here, but you can imagine about that object which is not close to you in space. Yes, definitely you can see helicopters. Just go to Dwarka, you will see helicopters. पालम के पास चले जाओ, दुनिया भर के हेलीकॉप्टर दिखेगा. लेकिन आपको यहां बैठे बैठे मैं हेलीकॉप्टर दिखा रहा हूं. कैसे? सिर्फ एक शब्द बोल के. ओनली बाय अटरिंग द वर्ड हेलीकॉप्टर आई एम एबल टू make you mentally visualize helicopter. This is the ability of language. So people become enabled to imagine objects and phenomena that are remote in space and time. This is the capability of language. So after 4 years, children begin to think in terms of language. So whatever they think about, they do not need to see it directly as in iconic mode. They simply need a word and they could see it mentally. Right? So 4 year onwards, children start thinking in symbolic mode. They do not need the real objects in their visibility. They simply need a word that can make them mentally visualize the object. Which can make them mentally visualize the objects. Okay? And finally, the latest theory, that is process theory, is J.P. Das model. J.P. Das PASS model. He is a Canadian from Indian origin, J.P. Das. Okay. Where P stands for planning, A for attention, S for successive, processing, and the other S for simultaneous processing. Okay. Now, what is this model? Just give me a minute. I'll discuss with you. Audible? According to Das, intellectual processing involves PASS, PASS. That is planning, attention, successive, simultaneous processing. Okay? Whenever we meet with a problem, we gain an learning experience while solving it. Whenever we meet with a problem, we gain a learning experience while solving it. Therefore, with every successful solution to a problem, we gain 1 unit of intelligence. Therefore, with every successful solution of a problem, we gain 1 unit of intelligence. Intelligence, therefore, is cumulative effect. Intelligence, therefore, is cumulative effect. Intelligence, therefore, is cumulative effect of experiences. Okay? Over a period of time, our brain functions specialize. Over a period of time, our brain functions specialize in different types of intellectual tasks and while working over a problem, each brain function operates in mutual interdependence. Each brain function operates in mutual interdependence. Therefore, damage in one region of brain adversely affects the functioning of other areas of brain. Because they are operating in mutual interdependence, damage in one region of brain adversely affect the functioning of other regions of brain. Okay? Planning. P stands for planning. Planning involves metacognition. Planning involves metacognition. Okay? Metacognition involves thinking about thoughts. Metacognition involves thinking about thoughts. Determining the line of thoughts. thinking about thoughts, determining the line of thought, and developing strategies to solve the problem. So whenever we use this term meta, it can be used for anything. Like you can say meta memory. Meta memory का मतलब determining the way I am going to memorize the information. So different people have different meta memories. Some people prefer learning by rote memorization because their meta memory has suggested them to go for rote memorization. Some people are better with understanding the information. They retain the information better when they understand it. So their meta memory have suggested understanding, semantic memorization, right? Some people remember information by rhyming and singing. So what will be the strategy that I will be using to remember this information or to do this task? That planning is done through metacognition. Meta means thinking about thoughts. कौन सा थॉट प्रिवेल करेगा, इसका डिसीजन जो आप लेते हैं एज अ सीएमडी और सीईओ, दिस इज मेटा. ठीक है. सो प्लानिंग इज मेटाकॉग्निशन. इन प्लानिंग स्टेज the person identifies the problem. In planning stage, the person identifies the problem. Sets a solution. Sets a solution. Anticipates the consequences. Anticipates the consequences. And evaluates the resources available. And evaluates the resources available. Planning takes place in the frontal lobes of brain. Planning takes place in the frontal lobes of brain. And in planning stage, the person decides. In planning stage, the planner decides whether the problem will require serial, whether the problem will require serial or parallel processing. Hello? Hello? ठीक है. सीरियल और पैरेलल प्रोसेसिंग. तो इस प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करने के लिए सीरियल प्रोसेसिंग करनी है या पैरेलल प्रोसेसिंग करनी है, ये पूरा प्लानिंग स्टेज फ्रंटल लोब में हो रहा है. ठीक है. देन कम्स अटेंशन. Lack of attention may lead to distraction. And too much attention may increase the alertness of mind, and too much attention may increase the alertness of mind to such an extent that the person may become hyperactive. ठीक है. Intelligent behavior, therefore, requires maintaining optimum attention, and arousal. Intellectual functioning will require maintaining optimum attention and arousal, which will vary task to task as well as person to person. Which will vary task to task as well as person to person. Attention is a function of brain stem. Attention is a function of brain stem ठीक है particularly RAS, if you remember, reticular activating system. So in the chapter of sleep, you have learned about RAS. You know, these are fibers that keep firing signals, and it keeps you mentally aroused, awake, and alert. So attention is a function of brain stem in which we have reticular activating system, RAS. Now coming to successive processing. Successive processing is a serial processing which is used while reading, writing, etc. To read a word, you have to process each letter in series. If you do not maintain the order of the letters, you will not be able to produce the sound. You can't produce the correct sounds if you have changed the order of the letters. ठीक है? So अगर U लिखना है तो YOU होगा, YUO नहीं होगा. तो आपको मेंटेन दिमाग में रखना पड़ेगा which letter follows what. For reading and writing, we need to remember the sequence or maintain the sequence or serially process the sound. So the phonetic correctness in reading, writing can be obtained through serial processing. J.P. Das developed a program called PrEP. J.P. Das developed a program called PrEP to help children suffering from dyslexia. जो डिस्लेक्सिक होते हैं वो अक्षरों को सीरियल में नहीं पढ़ पाते. They will read the letter at the end in the beginning, while the letter in the beginning in the end. तो इसलिए उनको पढ़ने में दिक्कत होती. And there are several people, great people, who have been dyslexic in their childhood, but they have benefited out of this program called PrEP. PrEP stands for Pass Reading Enhancement Program. PrEP stands for Pass Reading Enhancement Program. Like this, Abhishek Bachchan was dyslexic. In reality, he was dyslexic. ठीक है? तो वो जब भी कोई अक्षर देखता था, कोई वर्ड देखता था, तो वो लेटर्स दिमाग में घूमने लगते थे, इधर से उधर हो जाता था, उधर से इधर हो जाता था. ठीक है? तो इस प्रोग्राम के थ्रू ट्रीटमेंट होता है, प्रेप के थ्रू, जिसमें उनको रीडिंग राइटिंग में एक्चुअली रियल ऑब्जेक्ट दिखा करके उनको समझाया जाता है। ठीक है,
So could you repeat the full form of PEP?
पास रीडिंग एनहांसमेंट प्रोग्राम। पास रीडिंग एनहांसमेंट प्रोग्राम। जैसे मान लो लेटर्स को पहचान नहीं पा रहा है, दे आर नॉट एबल टू रिकॉग्नाइज द लेटर्स, तो उनको रियल ऑब्जेक्ट दिखाया जाता है। जैसे मान लो से ये क्या है, नल, न से नल, तो इनको नल दिखाया जाएगा, न का साउंड इनको समझ में आएगा एंड दे विल रिमेंबर दिस लेटर न थ्रू द रियल ऑब्जेक्ट नल। इस तरह का प्रोग्राम है। ठीक है, साइमल्टेनियस प्रोसेसिंग, बचपन में जैसे आपको कैसे समझाया गया, ए फॉर एप्पल, एक एप्पल का फोटो होता था, उसके बगल में एप्पल लिखा रहता था, तो आप एप्पल देखते थे और उस फोटो को भी देखते थे, तो दोनों का कंडीशनिंग हुआ, रिलेशन बना, ऐसे ही। ठीक है, नाउ साइमल्टेनियस प्रोसेसिंग इन्वॉल्व्स creating image, simultaneous processing involves creating image while reading and writing. Creating mental image while reading and writing. Suppose you read about police station. You create a mental image of a police station simultaneously while you are reading. So as fast as you read, as fast you understand. This is simultaneous processing. That means two activities. One is the reading that involves phonetics, producing sound, and producing visual image of the sound. Both happen together at the same time. This is simultaneous processing. Okay. So right now you are doing most of the task through simultaneous processing. As you read the book, as you read the content, you also create a mental visual. Okay, or mental visualization. This is simultaneous processing. Okay. So this is JP Das past model, and we are through with the theories of intelligence. Okay, and now coming to measurement of intelligence. Okay. Now see, the history of measuring intelligence begins with Francis Galton. Francis Galton was nephew of Darwin. Now, he was noting down the appearance of stars, comets in the sky through telescope. And he used to write down or note down the timing by his own hands. Now, when he will be away from the telescope for his day-to-day activity, he would ask his assistant to keep and watch in the telescope. And what he found, that the timings that he used to note and the timings which his assistant used to note had a difference of a fraction of a second. Therefore, he made a guess that because I am a born genius, nephew of Charles Darwin, I have something in excess which my assistant lacks. And that thing that I have in excess is intelligence. So he was the person who brought the idea of intelligence and coined the term intelligence. He said, I have something in addition which my assistant does not have because of my genealogical lineage. And therefore, he said, there is something called intelligence. And he also went ahead to say that white people have superior intelligence as compared to blacks. White people have superior intelligence as compared to blacks. And therefore, if mankind has to advance to greater levels of civilization, the world population should comprise of only white, and blacks should be eliminated. Now, how to eliminate the blacks? He advocated the practice of eugenics. Eugenics. You will learn that in developmental psychology. Eugenics के मतलब होता है selective breeding. So when the European conflicts were deported to Australia in exile, यूरोप में जो कॉन्विक्ट होता ना, उसको काला पानी की सजा देने के लिए ऑस्ट्रेलिया भेज देते थे. And Australia was the native land of Aborigines and Maoris, who were blacks. So these Europeans produced children out of blacks, and the black children were not allowed to reproduce. Only the white children were allowed to reproduce in the next generation. So suppose one white and one black have produced 4 children, 2 black, two white. These 2 white will marry and reproduce, and they will produce maybe 3 white and 1 black. Now that black will be eliminated from reproduction, and these 3 whites will mate further until across 3-4 generations, all children produced are white. So through selective breeding, the entire world population will become white. And white people or white race has better intelligence, and therefore they can make better human life. This was assumption of Francis Galton. तो इन लोगों ने वैसा ही किया, और ये चलन इतना पॉपुलर हो गया कि हमारे इंडिया में भी, दक्षिण भारत में, इन सदर्न इंडिया, people offered their daughters to white British to produce white children. ठीक है? For example, there is a district called Coorg in Karnataka. It is famous for most beautiful women. Why most beautiful? Because in terms of facial features, they're Indians, but in skin color, they're British. क्या हुआ? ये क्या हो गया? ये करूं? ऐसा क्यों हुआ? तो in Coorg district, there was a practice. You know, Coorg, Chikmagalur, these are areas of coffee plantation. You know, plantation agriculture, वहाँ hill stations हैं. तो ये लोग एक ब्रिटिश ऑफिसर से बच्चे पैदा करवाते थे ताकि ब्रीड इंप्रूव करे. यूजेनिक्स. ऐश्वर्या राय फॉर एग्जांपल, आप उनको देखिए, आपको लगेगा नहीं कि वो इंडियन है, जबकि फीचर्स सारे इंडियन है. यू नो, द नोज, the eyes, Indian features are good in face, you know, facial features are good in India, but skin color is good in UK. तो आपको लगेगा हाइब्रिड है, कलर ऑफ आईज. ठीक है? तो अब बाद में क्या हुआ कि those Maoris and Aborigines who had their kids born out of Britishers, they started, those black kids started demanding their claim on the father's property. And today, the Maoris have become the richest people in New Zealand. ठीक है भाई, पैदा तो कर दिया हिस्सा दो. ठीक है? तो ऑस्ट्रेलिया में you will find this, you know, locals काफी prosperous हो गए हैं because of this practice of eugenics that was started by Francis Galton. Now, Francis Galton believed that intelligence is nothing but speed of processing or speed of reacting. So according to him, intelligence is a function of reaction time and motor time. Reaction time and motor time. It is nothing but sensory motor readiness. It is nothing but sensory motor readiness to react. Intelligence is a function of reaction time and motor time. That is sensory motor readiness. Psychology post graduates कौन कौन है क्लास में? कोई नहीं? Neha, you are a student of psychology, I guess. UG.
So undergrad, not postgrad.
Okay, so when you will do your post graduation, you will participate in that practical. ठीक है, sensory motor reaction time motor time test. इसमें करते क्या मैं आपको बताता हूँ. There is a wooden box over which there are 9 red lights fitted, tiny lights, series of red lights are fitted, and there are buttons underlying each light which can switch on and switch off the light. Which can switch on and switch off the light. The person who is participating in the experiment can't see the buttons, but can mentally imagine that button must be just below the light. Now, randomly, the experimenter will switch on any of the 9 lights, and your task will be, without seeing the button, you have to move your fingers beneath the box and press the button to switch off the light. मेरी बात समझ रहे हैं? 9 छोटे छोटे बल्ब हैं जिसमें रैंडमली कोई भी बल्ब जल जाएगा, और आपका काम है कि हाथ अंदर डाल के बक्से में वो बटन ठीक कहां पर होगा लोकेट करके दबा देना है, तो वो लाइट बंद हो जाएगा. हाउ फास्ट यू डू दैट? रिएक्शन टाइम means how fast you are able to notice that which of the light is switched on, and motor time, how fast you can move your fingers beneath the box to switch off the light. ठीक है? Faster you do that, more intelligent you are. Galton used to do it faster than his assistant. ठीक है? So according to Galton, it is reaction time, motor time, that is measurement of intelligence. तो पहला तो जाल्टन, फ्रांसिस जाल्टन. Then comes Simon Binet. Then comes Simon Binet test. Simon Binet test. 1904-05. इसको बिनेट नहीं बोलेंगे, बिने. ठीक है, साइमन बिने. Simon Binet were 2 French educationists, 2 French educational psychologists. Who were asked by the Ministry of Education to identify children with mental retardation, so that such children could be separated from the general classroom and provided with special education. So that such children can be separated from the general classroom and provided with special education. ठीक है? तो इन दोनों को बुलाया गया था कि कैसे पता लगाएंगे कि कौन बच्चा जनरल क्लासरूम में पीछे रह जा रहा है, मेंटली रिटार्डेड है, दे आर नॉट एबल टू कैच अप विद द अदर चिल्ड्रन इन द क्लास, so that we can provide them with special education. So they were asked to identify them. Simon Binet found that delay in development of mental age in comparison to chronological age, delay in development of mental age in comparison to chronological age may cause mental retardation. May cause mental retardation. So delay in development of mental age. अगर आपका ब्रेन आपकी उम्र के हिसाब से नहीं बढ़ रहा है, chronological age is your age, biological age. If your brain is not developing at the same pace as your age, then it may cause mental retardation. Delay of 2 years. If the mental age is delayed by 2 years, it amounts to 1 unit of retardation. So if your chronological age is advanced by 2 years and your brain development or mental age is lagging behind by 2 years, then the person is 1 unit retarded, 1 unit of mental retardation. Okay? Mental retardation involves delay in critical period of learning, mental retardation involves delay in critical period of learning, in order to measure the mental age, children were given age appropriate test of intelligence. In order to measure the mental age, children were given age appropriate tests of intelligence. Each test comprised of 6 items, and for solving each items correctly, two months of mental age was earned. Okay. The difficulty level of the items increased for older age groups. The difficulty level of items increased for older age groups. So in every test, there will be 6 items. In Simon Binet test, there will be 6 items. If you solve it correctly, every item will give you 2 months of mental age. So if you have solved all the 6 items, you get 12 months, that is 1 year of mental age. Okay. Now suppose the child's chronological age, suppose the chronological age of child is 5 years. He will be given a test that is appropriate to 5 years. In that test, there will be 6 items. If he gets all the 6 correct, then it is assumed that his mental age is 5 years 100%. ठीक है, इस 5 साल के बच्चे का 5 साल तो मेंटल एज है ही, क्योंकि इसके नीचे वाले तो सब करेगा ही. ठीक है. Now the same child will be given a test that is appropriate or suitable for 6-year age group, and say there are 6 items. Now in this test, the child is able to solve 4 items correctly, so he earns a mental age of 8 months. So it becomes 5 years plus 8 months. Okay. Now the child will be given the test that is suitable for 7-year age group. In that 7-year age group, the child is able to solve, say, 2 questions. So it earns him 4 months. Now the child will be given an test that is suitable for 8 years age group, and the child is able to solve 0 question. So what is the mental age here? 0. Okay. So now you add up 5 years plus 8 months plus 4 months plus 0. That is equal to 6 years. So 6 year will be the mental age of the child. Okay. Now here 5 year is known as basal age. Basal age means any test that is appropriate for children below 5 years, he will be able to correctly solve it. That means he will not make any mistakes below 5 years. So it is called basal age. And 7 year is the ceiling age. Ceiling age means he can't solve any question in a test that is for above 7 year. So his maximum limit of solving the questions or items is 7 year. So mental age will give information about 2 types of ages. One is basal age, another is ceiling age. Basal age is the age below which all questions will be solved correctly. Ceiling age is the age above which none of the questions can be solved correctly. Okay. So this is the way Simon Binet measured the mental age. In this manner, he used to measure mental age. Clear? नहीं, मैं बोल रहा हूं जैसे मान लो बच्चे का उम्र 5 साल है, तो उसके साथ ऐसा करेंगे. अगर 6 साल का होता तो उसको शुरू करते 6 साल की वाले टेस्ट से. बच्चे का जो उम्र है उसी उम्र के लिए जो टेस्ट बनाया है वो देंगे पहले. अगर उसने सारे क्वेश्चन सही कर लिए, इसका मतलब इससे कम उम्र के जितने टेस्ट है वो सभी करेगा. तो वो उसका स्टार्टिंग हो गया, बेसल एज हो गया. ठीक है, वो बच्चे का क्रोनोलॉजिकल एज के हिसाब से. ठीक है. Now, tomorrow we will see what is the problem with Simon Binet. There is a technical difficulty here that we will see tomorrow. Okay? From tomorrow onwards, I am going to become all alone. My family is going outside. Okay, online. See you tomorrow. अरे नहीं, हाँ